So let's start off by talking about prepaid and where we are today. And in the interest of fairness, we're going to go in alphabetical order for this part of it based on company name. So that puts Alpesh Chokshi from American Express up first.
Thanks, Marilyn. And thanks again for putting us right after President Clinton. What a tough act to follow. At American Express, we are incredibly excited about prepaid. We believe that prepaid products and services can and will improve the lives of people around the world in ways we're just starting to understand. Why are we so excited? 3 reasons. First, we've just been through the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. And you know what? A crisis is a terrible thing to waste. We need to learn from it. What have we learned? We've learned that people now, more than ever, in this new normal, as people call it, want financial security, safety, and control. That's exactly what prepaid provides. Second, technology is creating many new ways for people to pay for things. I know we've heard this before, but I truly believe at this time, people are now connecting to each other, to merchants, to their money, in ways that go far beyond the traditional networks that all of us on this stage have built. Many of these new platforms are powered by prepaid, have prepaid inside. At Amex, we believe in this so strongly we just bought a company, Revolution Money, that's in the alternative payment space. And third, emerging markets are increasingly driving a lot of growth around the world. Look, I'm a simple guy. If you want to grow, you got to go where the growth is. And just think of China. It was the largest economy in the world for 18 of the last 20 centuries. In these growth markets, many sectors are evolving very differently than they did in the West. And payments should be no exception. Just in the same way that people in India, China, Brazil, so many places have gone from no phones to wireless, completely skip the wireline phase, so too could they completely skip the plastic phase and go from cash straight to mobile and online. So I hope you know, and those technologies also, mobile and online, again, prepaid inside, powered by prepaid in many, many cases. So I hope you can see why we're so excited at American Express about the potential for prepaid, and I truly believe now is the time for prepaid.
Thank you, Alpesh. Next up, Farhan.
All right. So I was really expecting a question, but I'll do the best with what I have now. So the vision for prepaid, we think about, we've given these terms and these definitions to our payment products. We have credit and debit and prepaid, and it's really interesting, but it's people behind this desk and we come up with these fancy names and consumers really don't care whether it's prepaid or debit or credit or whatever else it is. People are looking for access to money. They get money from different sources. They want to use it to acquire goods and services. And we have said, well, if you borrow the money, we call it credit. If it's in your bank account, we call it checking. And then everything else, let's just lump it into this entity called prepaid. So if you think about it for that definition, it may be limiting. It's maybe difficult to see where it's going or heading. But when I think of prepaid, I think of it's a collection of innovators, most of you in this room, who do not think like the old regimes. When President Clinton was speaking, it was kind of poignant because he was talking about the problem with prosperous countries is rigidity. And that is truly the problem, right? So what prepaid does is it brings in a bunch of new companies, small companies, innovators, who come in and they say, I will provide you better, faster, safer, more convenient access to your money when you need it and on your terms. And that's the beauty of prepaid. So when I think of prepaid, in my definition, there is no prepaid, right? There is no such entity in my vocabulary called prepaid. We talk about giving people access to their money and how do we do it. And then where do we play a role in this, right? We're not necessarily the biggest innovators. The companies, like I said, program managers out there, processors, you guys are building very cool, innovative products. So how do we help? How do we play a role in that? And that's where I think I spend a lot of my time thinking about how does a card brand, how does networks really help you guys succeed and help bring this thing to bear? So what do we do? Well, there's the visible things, right? We give the confidence behind it. If you see a great brand name, you know that it's accepted in certain places, you know that it has the confidence and the backing of a strong company behind it. But it's really what we do behind the scenes. And that's where a discovery.
Thank you, Farhan. Laura, tell us where Prepaid is today.
Really 3 words, right? We'll make it really simple. And I'll talk about why I think these 3 matter. Smarter, bigger, and better. And it's very much through the partners that we have around the world that I can say that. So let me just take each one of those real quickly and explain why I think that's very relevant to Prepaid today as well as Prepaid tomorrow. Smarter is about innovation. And one clear example I have of that is the EasyLink card in Singapore, where basically there's a dual purse application. So the individual can have a transit card and also have a shopping card to basically buy goods and services at Mastercard acceptance locations. It's really an excellent opportunity for a consumer who already holds a card to be able to increase the value of that card to them. It's also an excellent application for youth because parents really prefer their kids not to be carrying cash. Another real good example of smarter innovation is money send. President Clinton talked about moving money across borders and how that enables financial inclusion and how that enables economic stability. And Mastercard Money Send is just launched in not all markets in the world, but certainly some of the key markets in the world. And it allows basically P2P access to money. So you can very quickly launch the application on your mobile phone and send money from one individual to another. It's a very, very interesting and innovative application and will certainly help open up mobile even more for prepaid payments. When I talk about bigger, there's certainly some huge opportunities in 2009 and going forward we'll see even more. We're very, very excited about. 2009 was a fantastic year for prepaid. A couple of examples, President Clinton stole my thunder, I guess I'll let him since he's the president. On the Walmart payroll card that we launched just last year. It's a phenomenal application, but what I find so amazing about the Walmart payroll card is that Walmart didn't launch a payroll card. They launched a solution for their associates to better manage their money, and that's a really important distinction. They were extremely focused as a partner of Mastercard to making sure that that pay card that got into the hands of those associates was relevant, was helpful, was convenient, provided access. And it was amazing that at the end of the day it actually saved 258,000 pounds of paper, as well as a lot of gas that the associates used to drive to their stores, because many of those associates are on a part-time basis. So I think it's a really good example of a very large-scale application, a very large-scale employer, probably the biggest in the world, launching a successful program, not to launch a pay card, not to drive efficiencies, but to do what's right for their associates, and by doing that, certainly reach efficiencies and reach green.
Thank you, Laura. And Brian, you're up last.
Thank you. And I'll be pretty quick, because I know we'll get to some other questions. But I think President Clinton hit on a very important thing. When we think back about 2009 and all the things that happened, one of the things that really sticks in my mind is all the headlines around prepaid. So many of them about cards in general, but also in prepaid, were negative. And although there were some bright spots. And really what we're trying to do, and what's very important for driving this industry forward, is to have better public-private relationships and partnerships. And that's one of the things as Visa, we're really trying to drive forward, is how can we partner with government entities in a way that brings them value. Not only value in terms of saving money, but how do they drive better value and better experience to their constituent base. And the more that we bring those government entities and thought leaders like President Clinton, like other people in Congress, on board with what we're doing and see us as a solution as opposed to a problem, then they can help us drive product to the consumer that is going to provide all the technology, all the benefits. And that's part of what Visa has been doing. If anybody has seen a program that we have, it's called Currency of Progress. And it really looks at the payment industry on how we're driving cost savings, consumer benefit, and really bringing people in the financial mainstream through our products. And so it's those things that we're focused on, and we can continue to drive that. Will help drive the overall prepaid industry forward. We look at what we achieved last year with all of our partnerships and key groups that we work with, and achieved about 106% year-over-year growth for the underserved. That absolutely goes to you and what you're doing, but also very key in terms of how we work with the governmental leaders to drive that not only here in the U.S. but globally.